Montpelier.
Okay, so myself and our business agent Tony St. Hilaire met with the governor, his chief of staff. Jeb Spalding was there. Phil Fermonte from Bernie Sanders' office was there. He's their director of outreach. Brian Searles, the head of VTrans, was there, and Jeb Spalding, and then Tom Buckley, who's the chairman of the board for CCTA. He was there, and the governor kicked off the meeting by giving us his rendition of what he understood from his advisors as to what the issues were, and he actually had a pretty firm grasp on all the issues, and he understood that there is only really one issue now that is keeping us from reaching an agreement, and it's this notion of the 12.5-hour spread time. So he started off by asking us, gathering more information on this 12.5-hour issue. So I turned to Tony and I said, well, why don't we let them speak first? So Joel McNeil took it upon himself to explain, why the agency is having such a tough time reaching an agreement. And he stated that the company has issues with hiring new part-timers coming through the door, and how they have this inability to schedule them. And after much discussion, it was my turn to speak to the governor, and I told him that everything they need to grow, to make the company grow and to achieve all their goals, either the union has compromised on or the language already exists in the contract. The company says they're having a hard time scheduling runs, and we said, no, you have the language right now. We're saying that if you hire a part-timer and you want to schedule them, we said, why don't you have that part-timer get in the advanced process and the daily process, just like the full-timers do. So if you have a full-timer right now who has his 40 hours, well, he's set for the week. But any full-timer who does not have, or he or she does not have all their 40 hours, they get in what's called the advanced process, where the dispatcher gets a hold of the driver in seniority order and says to them, these are the hours I have for next week for you to get your 40 hours. And so we do that in seniority order. And we would allow the company to let the part-timers partake in that process as well. So any part-timer who needs to get their hours would be in that advanced process as well. If you still don't get your hours after that process, the week that the work actually takes place, then there's the daily process. And the same thing goes for the full-timers. If a full-timer still does not have all of their 40 hours because they just couldn't get them in the advanced process, they can do it in the daily process too. And we are saying that part-timers would be allowed to partake in that process as well. If they want to get into the daily process and get their hours, we have no problem. That fixes all of the agency's issues. They have part-timers, and that allows the company to remove all of their managers that they claim have to drive the routes, which takes away from their duties, which we agree. We don't want managers driving buses. We'd rather have a union driver driving those buses. So a part-timer would fix that problem. If the agency wants to grow and take on new work, and it's mainly this commuting peak hour stuff, part-timers help them achieve that goal as well. They said that they're having problems scheduling people. We said the contract achieves those goals as well. Every time the company says they have some sort of roadblock, we tell them that either the part-timers or the current language contract helps them to achieve all those goals. They may not like the way they're achieved, but they still can do it. And the governor pointed out to both parties that both parties in this agreement are going to have to compromise, which he stated to the employer that the union already has. And that you are both going to get something you don't like in the contract. And he says, from my point of view, it sounds like the union is willing to accept provisions in the contract that they don't like, but they're willing to live with. And he pointed out to the employer that you are going to have to do the same. So that was it.
What's your name?
Nathan Bergeron.
And you are the steward?
I'm one of the 3 stewards.
One of the 3 stewards.
Yeah.
Are the part-timers, they have union status? Are they pay dues?
They will. Any new hire from the outside world coming into the company, and they're hired as a part-timer, will have to pay the initiation fee just like every other full-timer, and they will have to pay the monthly union dues as well. They will have all the same rights and privileges as all the full-timers.
But no benefits?
Though they won't have benefits, no. Because they're part-time, they are hired under part-time status. If a full-time position opens up, they can apply. I don't know if they would get preferential treatment over a person from the outside world. I would imagine they would. I wouldn't see why they wouldn't, because the company already knows them. They hired them as part-time, so why not bump them up to full-time if a full-time slot opens? I don't see an issue with that. So
how do you feel about getting resolved the negotiations tonight? What's your take on it?
I feel very confident about tonight. We have been saying this whole week, all the company has to do is give us the 12.5-hour spread time, and you've got a deal. It's just that simple. We've been telling them that. The governor is in agreement with us. He says you guys are very close to a resolution. It sounds like the union's already made compromise. So all you got to do is give these guys their 12.5. Sounds like they're willing to sign, and we are. Bernie Sanders, we met with him last night. He's saying the same thing. And in the meeting today, the governor turned to Phil Vermont. He said to the group that we had a meeting last night, the senator and I, and we are on the same page. And Phil Vermont was sitting there shaking his head yes. He says yes, they did have that conversation. So it's just that simple. Give us the 12.5. Everything goes back to the way it once was, as we all know it to be. So
thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.